Now what happens is, you know the story where Kartik Swami, he goes on his peacock for a big round of the earth, and Ganesha, what does he do? He immediately goes around his parents and then he tells Narad Muni, now give me. So this story has been interpreted in various ways. Okay, and so far that I finished Narada's story, nobody has asked me a question. So I am a little bit appalled at what is happening. So it seems like, the story needs to be understood. So what is it? So first and foremost, let us think about this person that we are trying to understand, Narada. Who is this Narada? Think. Narada. Who is the Narada?
The Lord's messenger. He's a messenger of the Lord.
Now see the words that we are going to use. One is a messenger. What is the other one?
The catalyst.
Okay.
He's the highest devotee of Vishnu.
Messenger. Okay. Catalyst. Then?
Highest devotee of Vishnu, who keeps chanting Vishnu's name.
Then anything else that you can think of?
Person who carries message from one place to the other.
So
he's the one who has access to all the three worlds.
Three worlds, yeah.
Messenger. Is it muted? No. You can listen to me, no? Okay. Messenger. M-E-S-S-A-N. How do you spell message? M-E-S-S-A-G-E. No?
M-G-E-R.
And what else? Postman. Chamcha. Correct. Yeah, even three words.
Are they?
Somebody, this thing is echoing. So just yeah. Now let us try to understand this. Please understand. You see, when we were doing last week, last week what we were doing, we were talking about Vyasdev. We were talking about all the different forms of Vishnu. So many 20 different forms that are going to come up. We were discussing about all these things, and the state of Vyas Muni. The state of Vyas Muni is he is in a very dejected state, and he says कि मैं क्या करूँ, मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा. And then what does he do? Then Narad Muni comes to him. So Narad Muni says he is a motivator, isn't it? T-I-V-A-T-O-R, motivator. One more word. What else? You see the things that are, now you will get an idea about what I'm talking. All right, and he is the greatest devotee of Vishnu. Is the primary thing. He keeps on taking his name. So the name. So in his world, Naam Japa is always happening. Correct? What does he play? Veena. Veena or tambura? क्या करते हैं वो? Iktara. Sorry. Yeah, Tanpura or Ektara. Basically, it's an Ektari. Ting, ning, ning, ning karte रहते. So, I want you to think about it. It's a very, very important word that we have got to. Okay? He is also comprising of this word. Nar. Huh? Right? The entire name is a combination of this, and the next one is You can see the words I am writing, no? What are the two notes called? Between two notes, you know, when somebody says ये note और वो note, इसके बीच में क्या होता है?
Synopsis. Synapse.
This is the word that is there. There is a note of a bridge. You know the bridge note? Between two notes, there is always a bridge note. है ना? जरा mute कर. So you will find that now see all these words that we have written down is going to give you an indication of who he is. He is a messenger. He is the one who connects one world to the other. He transfers messages from here to there, there to there, there to there, there to there. Constantly in the devotional form. He is a devotee, highest devotee of the God. He says the words. What is that? Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. He keeps on saying these words. So that means there is a constant hum over there. Hum. H-U-M. It's a constant hum. It's a constant rhythmic thing that is happening. The three worlds I told you last week is inside of us. Yes? No? The three worlds are inside of us.
Is a nerve impulse.
Yes, you are absolutely right. He is called this rhythmic thing in our being which is sending messages across the entire body. It's a communication medium. He is a communicator which is there inside, right from the... There are mute right now, please. There's too much of an echo coming here. Right from the brain till the toe, the smallest of the toe. Any impulse that has to be generated in any part of the body is this particular thing called Narada. It is a vibration. It just keeps on going up and down. And it is constant. It's constant to this level that he performs one of the most important functions in our being, in the entire being of ours, in the three loka. Okay? He controls the communication medium. He is literally like the internet. Like the Airtel या फिर Vodafone, पूरा इधर का उधर, उधर का उधर, उधर का उधर. And imagine between every gods, between every locals, the communication transpires. Now think about this. Okay, let us say for example I am touching a very pointed object, tak karke. Is the impulse reaching somewhere? Definitely it is reaching somewhere. Okay, if the impulse is of a hurt or a pain, it is going to reach a particular domain where there is an interpretation that happens and it comes back and the things get picked up. Your finger you are going to pick up. So that means you are touching a pin, and because you are touching a pin, he has conveyed this particular message to the part of our being, and we immediately remove that. If he doesn't exist in our being, we will be completely devoid of messaging in our body. And imagine what would happen if we do not have this within us. So if you actually look at him, you will see he's composed of a person with feet all across, running all over the place, with an ektara, with the name on his tongue. I told you it's a bridge. दो nerves के बीच में का वो bridge के जैसा वो चल रहा है, ऐसा ऐसा ऐसा. Can you imagine? एक दूसरा तीसरा चौथा पांचवा It's continuously moving to and fro, to and fro, to and fro, messaging. So now think about the last chapter that we did. What was the last chapter that we did? We were talking to a very important persona in this book. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam has been rendered, written, or
Vyasdev.
told by Vyas Muni. Vyas Muni is the one who is conveying the stories to us. So he is the master storyteller in us. Okay. It's a compilation of huge database of memories. It's a huge chapters and chapters and chapters filled with memories in all the lives of ours. Not only the 20 incarnations that we're talking about, but entire lifetimes of ours, including the Mahabharata. Remember, he's the one who was responsible for breaking down the Vedas into 4. That was mentioned right in the beginning, isn't it? Vyasdev was the first person who broke down the Vedas. That means, what did he actually do? He took the database from that means the framework, and he split it down. What you said?
Simplified.
And he used what? Microsoft kya? Yes, and he broke it down into different columns and this and that, and he created a story out of it. This is what happens where Vyas Muni is concerned. He makes it simplified for us to actually progress in our world. Our world is a very complicated structure of millions of lives that we have accumulated over a period of time. Correct? What are the 2 important things that run this body of ours? 2 things. One is karma, isn't it? We are karmic beings. No, the superstructure is run by them. One is karma, and the other one is the tendencies which we have gathered over a period of time. You understood? Can you imagine the pile up of tendencies that we have? Who is that? Okay, 1 second. Huh? So, these are a pile up of tendencies that we have accumulated over a period of time. Think of the number of tendencies. कौन से लाइफ में हम कीड़ा मकोड़ा रहेंगे, कौन से लाइफ में गधे रहेंगे, कौन से लाइफ में घोड़े रहेंगे. Imagine the way we neigh around, the way we kick people around. Don't you think that we have all the qualities that we are supposed to? And today when I was talking to someone, I said, can you just look up the meaning of this word called tendency? Do you know what it is called? Tendency means what? Do you know what tendency translates into?
Vasanas.
Exactly. Do you know what a vasana means?
The past and the latent impressions.
But what does actually vasana mean?
Which exist.
Like, Vasana means where you live, like vas karo. Where you're drawn to that. You're drawn to that nature or whatever.
एक हमारे हिंदी पिक्चर में just please mute it.
It's a behavioral tendency or a hidden.
Exactly. It's a behavioral tendency. A vasana in Hindi picture, वो वासना का शिकारी हो गया. You know, it's got such a derogatory meaning that in our ancient films you will find there's a K and Singh.
It's a basal tendency.
Exactly. So this is what the whole tendencies aspect is. It is passed down from the millions of lives that we have lived in our past. It's a continuation. This life, this life, this life, this life, this life. So we have accumulated so many tendencies. Yeah, Aparna had written lust. Yes, Vasana also translates into lust. The Vasana is two major words which describe Vasana is called lust and greed. And Ramakrishna Paramahansa was the person who kept on saying, Kamini Kanchan, lust and greed, you got to leave both these things. So this is our tendencies which we have accumulated over a period of time. Vyasdeva was the first person who was able to break it down, the entire framework of the Vedas, in a very, very simplified form. Simplified to that level where today we don't have the entire Vedas with us. We have a very tiny and a minor portion of the Vedas with us, and we are yet able to understand a lot of things. So we are able to understand the framework. Got it? So I think I've given you a brief understanding about these two main characters which we have just finished with. Okay? Okay? So y'all need to ask me questions. Then only I will be able to tell you what it means. Okay? So we are connecting the whole book. We are representing it in three different worlds, isn't it? The first world is the world outside of us, the world inside of us, and the enactment which happens. There is one enactment which is going to happen. So you will find the same characters that are mentioned in the book are going to be inside of you, are also going to enact the role outside of you. Three things that happens. Got it? So Padma is wondering. For her this thing I will explain to you. There is a goal of Vrindavana somewhere. Okay? The goal of Vrindavan is inside of you also. Okay? And the enactment was happening in this place which is Delhi se 100 kilometer dur. Wahan par. So three places. So that is a stage. Near Delhi is a stage. So what is happening in that domain is happening in this domain and is happening inside of us. So all the three worlds are connected. Got it? So I will begin chapter 7, son of Drona punished. Okay? Rishi Saunaka asked, O Sutta, the great and the transcendently powerful Vyasdev heard everything from Sri Narad Muni. So after Narada's departure, what did Vyasdev do? Sutta Goswami said, on the western banks of the river Saraswati, which is intimately related with the Vedas, there is a cottage for meditation as Samya Prasa, which enlivens the transcendental activities of the sages. Incidentally, this place exists. Vyasdev, jahan par jaake, the place where he has done his meditation, if you go in the Himalayas, it exists today also. People will take you over there. If you go on these, all the dham yatras and all those, you will be able to see this place also. In that place, Vyasdev in his own ashrama, which was surrounded by berry trees, sat down to meditate after touching water for purification. He was sitting next to river Saraswati. Thus he fixed his mind perfectly engaging by linking it in the devotional service, Bhakti Yoga, without any tinge of materialism. And thus he saw the absolute personality of Godhead, Krishna, along with his external energy, which was under full control. Correct? What happens is, Vyas Muni goes to this place. Like you have this Badrika ashram and all that, there is a Vyas ashram also. And that place is given over here. If you, I just said the word. It is Samya Prasha. Okay? Samyprasa. Okay? I don't know what it is called today, but the place exists, by the way. So what does he do? He goes over there and he sits for meditation on the Lord. Remember, he is already a divine being who knows how to reach the divine states. So he was able to reach the state of Krishna. And his external energy. The external energy is the manifest form that happens. The manifestation that happens. See, for any energy to take certain steps, the energy has to be separate than the Lord, isn't it? So this particular energy is never mentioned in this entire book. Her name will never come. The name will never come. Okay. This energy is what we did in the Nagamani. We have called it as the mother. Correct? In this book, the name will not be ever mentioned. Okay? But for your kind understanding, this powerful energy is called Radha. It is Krishna's own potency, energy, which is under full control of the Lord. Okay. Due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of the material nature, think of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reaction of material miseries. This potential energy that is there is translated into different domains as different names. Okay. If I am a Vaishnava, I will call her by this name which I gave you. If I am a Shaivite, I will call her Shakti. Shiv and Shakti principle. Okay. Shakti principle, when it goes in the form of creation, power of creation, when she starts creating some objects, that energy is translated into what is called as Prakriti. When the Prakriti goes further and starts the deluding power or the illusory power that it is always having, it is called Maya. It goes under different names. In the same way, in our material world, we call them by different energies. Like if it is a Vishnu or Vaishnav, we'll call her Lakshmi or some other form of. The names will be different to different devotional type of people. So here the answer is, because of this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, that means the gunas, the prakriti, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reaction of material miseries. What happens is, it is because of this nature of this power, the power structure that is there, she has got this nature which is called the illusive nature. She creates illusions in the minds of human beings. Got it? So any form, any of this form which is born on this planet Earth, anybody who takes a form and is born will always be under the sway of Maya. Got it? So this is what he is talking about. The material miseries of the living entity which are superfluous to him can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore Vyasdev compiled his Vedic literature which is in relation to the supreme truth. Now because of Maya's prabhav, the pressure of Maya on every person that is born on this planet Earth, because of tremendous amount of energy that she flows, which is flowing through us, which is delusive in nature, so that you do not get deluded, there is a methodology which we have to employ. And that methodology for overcoming this energy of the Lord is called devotion to the Lord. So when you do devotional service to the Lord, you are able to overcome this powerful entity called Maya. Got it? Then you will understand the truth of the Vedic literature. Simply by giving oral reception matlab sunne ka, to this Vedic literature, the feeling of loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fearfulness. Only when you listen to the beautiful stories of the Lord, The devotional service can be performed by even listening to the beautiful stories in the Bhagavata. You can listen to the beautiful stories in the Bhagavata and you will be able to cross these oceans of misery. Lamentations. कितना हम लोग रोते रहते हैं. We keep on crying continuously. We are full of illusions. ये हो गया, वो हो गया. You know how many illusions a person can fall under? Every day is an illusion. कितना चलते रहता है. आज सवेरे मैं आई थिंक राज को बता रहा था, हम लोगों का है ना एक वेरी ब्यूटीफुल इल्यूजन मैं आपको बताता हूँ. ठीक है, आप सोचो. हाँ, इस इल्यूजन को सिंपल देखो. ये हाथ पकड़ रहा है और ये हाथ बोलता है छोड़ना 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 छोड़ना. See, do you really think he's catching? Both hands are yours. One is holding and the other one is just saying, मेरे को छोड़ना, please leave me, please leave me. Think about it. This is the illusion we are living in constantly. We are so much deluded by Maya that we are catching our own hand and we are saying, hey, chodna, hey, chodna. I mean, this is the delusion. And fearfulness. Brito asked me one question in the morning. Why is everybody afraid of you? I mean, do you really think I have two horns over here with fangs over here and I'm going to eat you up? मैं तुम्हें खा जाऊंगा. कि आपको कुछ अगर मेरे से बात करनी है तो आप मुझसे डरते हैं. Because somebody told Brito कि I'm afraid to talk to him. मैंने उसको पूछा, मैं किसी को खा तो नहीं जाऊंगा, मैं कुछ करता नहीं हूं, फिर डरते क्यों? But the fear factor is an illusory factor. Please understand. It's a Maya's creation again. जहां पे कुछ नहीं है वहां पे हमको कुछ दिखता है. Okay? The snake and the rope is a very, very common example that is always given. The snake and the rope. You know the story of the snake and the rope? One day a Brahmana was going from the jungle. Okay? Suddenly he saw in the middle of the road in the night, he saw something lying on the floor of the road. Okay? So he says, oh my God, there is a snake over there. And he goes behind and hides somewhere. The next morning when the sun comes, he goes and sees that it is only a rope. This is a story from the Upanishads. And it's a very important example that is given over there. There was no snake over there. But only if you had the light, the sunlight, or the small lamp in your hand. That is called knowledge. If you had the knowledge, there would be no fear, isn't it? Then you will say it's just a rope. And then you would have gone ahead. But what is it that made you stop in the middle of the road? Fearfulness. Fear. You are afraid of it. Why? Because of ignorance, the darkness of ignorance. Because we were living in the darkness. This ignorance doesn't allow us to see the truth. The mind is the biggest tool of Maya Devi. She uses this tool which is called the mind and keeps you deluded all your life, making you think there is a snake on the road. So you have to take the light or the torch of knowledge and shine it on this. Yes. The great sage Vyas, after compiling the Srimad Bhagavatam and revising it, taught to his own son, Sukadeva Goswami, who was already engaged in self-realization. So what does he do? He sits on this river and writes this entire Srimad Bhagavatam, and then he recites it to his son, Sukadeva. Shaunaka asked Sukadeva, did I miss out? No. Shaunaka asked Sukadeva Goswami. See, Sukadeva Goswami was already on the path of self-realization, and thus he was pleased with his own self. So why did he take the trouble to undergo the study of such a vast literature? Suppose you are on the path of realization. Fear, what is the need for a person to read the stories or go to temple or do anything? Isn't it a fact? You see, those who are a realized being, they are not supposed to do any activity like going to the temple, doing pujas, part, this, that, or listening to stories of God. What is the point? There's no point. You're already reached, isn't it? If you're already reached, what is the point? So the question asked was this. All different varieties of Atmarams, those who take pleasure in their own self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including the liberated souls. This line will tell you something very, very strange. The Lord will attract even the liberated souls. The word which is the strangest over here is even. Not liberated soul, even. That means the Lord is not looking at liberated souls alone. He says, wo bhi saath mein, chalo. We'll include those people also. It is literally like an afterthought, isn't it? So those who are liberated are not necessarily with Krishna. Understood? See, what do we think? The way of thinking of ours is, if we are liberated, then we will be with Krishna. Isn't it? No, not necessary. Liberation can also mean that you can release yourself and completely destroy your body and dissolve in the Parabrahma. You can dissolve. You don't need to go to Krishna. But the choice is there. Those who are on the path of self-realization, there is a choice. Do you want to go to Krishna? Before realization also you can go. वो रियलाइजेशन करने के बाद जाना कोई जरूरी नहीं है. मतलब क्या है, पीएचडी मिल गया, हाँ, उसके बाद कृष्णा के पास जाने का ऐसा कोई जरूरी नहीं है. वो बोला पीएचडी नहीं, तुम प्राइमरी में भी रहेगा, सेकेंडरी स्कूल में भी रहेगा तो भी जा सकता है. You got the point? It is not necessary that you need to be a highly established soul in the om करने के बाद उधर ओम करने को जाने का नहीं है. और कृष्णा के पास ओम करने को है ना, वहां पे why does he require your sound system, boss? He has got a Bose Dolby, पता नहीं Bose Dolby ये वो पूरा साउंड सिस्टम है, तुम्हारा काय को मांगता है उसको. So in his world he is not at all interested if you are going towards realization and then you want to come. He says you can come before that also, I don't care. Criteria. The criteria will be explained to you multiple times. And I think we keep on talking about this criteria quite often. Simple. The 4 words which are very, very important. Okay. You need to have those 4 words always at the back of your mind. Don't bother about the rest. Have absolute faith in him. No need of anything else. Have absolute complete faith in him. Number 1. Number 2. Completely surrender to his will. Don't bother about मेरा क्या होगा, अब मेरा क्या होगा. Can I keep 10 rupiah in the pocket and then can I go for my journey? No need of keeping even the 10 rupees. You can just say Krishna की मर्जी से मैं जा रहा हूँ, and you can walk out. No problem. Got it? Remember the story of Vivekananda? He went to United States with no money in his pocket. Just like that. Think about Ramana Maharshi. क्या पैसा था उसके पास? No money at all. He had nothing in his pocket. Think about all these sages who left their place and vanished. They never carried even any support system for themselves. बोला नहीं, मेरा है ना 2-4 क्रेडिट कार्ड मैं ले लेता हूँ. एक सिटी बैंक का चला कि नहीं चला नहीं पता नहीं. बोला सिटी बैंक का नहीं चला तो एटलीस्ट दूसरे कंपनी का चलेगा. चलो वो नहीं चला, डेबिट कार्ड तो चलेगा. I mean, we are thinking in this terminology in our entire lifetime. And then you will ask, अच्छा क्रेडिट कार्ड डेबिट कार्ड सब हो गया, कैश भी थोड़ा मांगता है, अच्छा ठीक है, उसके साथ इंश्योरेंस निकाला क्या? So please understand, in his world if you are going to carry all this paraphernalia with you, वो surrender नाम का चीज नहीं हुआ तुम्हारा. So where is the surrender? There is no surrender at all. And then unconditional love. You cannot have condition. तू मेरे को देगा तो मैं तेरे को देगा. वो हस्बैंड वाइफ का या फिर बाल बच्चे का बाप का ये वो सब रहता है ना, ये दिस इज कंडीशनल लव. You do this for me, then I will do that for you. You scratch my back and I scratch your back. No transactions over here. You have to give your 100% to him. Whether he gives it back to you or no, you no guarantee, sir. समझ में आया? But please understand, from his side it is 100%. From your side it may be 10%. चलो एक 1% एडिशनल करता हूँ, चलो एक 2% का और टैक्स मारता हूँ, चलो मैक्सिमम देके 15 या 20% हम दे देंगे. नो, इन हिज वर्ल्ड 100% यू हैव टू गिव. नो डिस्काउंटिंग पॉलिसीज ओवर हियर. So no discounts over here. So 100% love, unconditional love. There is no conditions attached to it. And the last is called devotion. Devotion. एक ही सिंगल पॉइंटेड डिवोशन, इधर उधर देखने का नहीं, आजू बाजू में. डोंट सी हियर देयर, अच्छा ये भी है वो भी है वो भी है. वो एक ब्यूटीफुल सॉन्ग वाज देयर, पद्मा विल नाउ लाफ. बोला इसको प्यार करूं कैसे प्यार करूं, ये भी है वो भी है वो भी है, ना वैसा नॉट अलाउड. बोला एक सही है, एक से डिवोशन में रहो. राज हंसने की बात होती है, रोना मत, गाना गा रहा हूं. So it is.
So he says you have no choices, only him.
वही तो बोला, तुम्हारे लाइफ में दूसरा कोई नहीं मांगता है, सिर्फ मैं ही चाहिए ऐसा. तो इफ यू हैव दैट, देन डायरेक्ट एंट्री. वो किधर स्कूल में भी जाने की जरूरी नहीं, कॉलेज में भी जाने की जरूरी नहीं, सीधा पीएचडी. बोला मेरा गोल हो यूनिवर्सिटी का पीएचडी तुमको दे देगा. चलो कल से डॉक्टर, हम लोग डॉक्टर खेलेंगे. So that is what it is. Okay, so all different varieties are Atmarams. Atmaram, what is Atmaram? Those who are lost in the self, those who are lost in the Atma constantly, they are called Atmarams. They are तल्लीन होते हैं वो लोग. तल्लीन मतलब lost in it, चरसी. So especially those established on the path of self-realization, though freed from all kind of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service. Only when you do this unalloyed devotional service, correct? That means single pointed, दूसरा इधर उधर कोई नहीं, unto the Lord, then only you can reach over there. Okay. Sukdev, son of Vyasdev, was not only transcendently powerful, he was also very dear to the devotees of the Lord. Thus he underwent the study of this great narration. What does this mean? The devotee of the Lord. You have to be devoted to the Lord and to the devotee of the Lord also. Devoted to Lord as well as the devotee of the Lord. समझ में आया कि नहीं? Who is the whom are you devoted to? To the Lord. That means Krishna se direct contact. Number one. The devotee of the Lord are all the sages. Are all these people like say Sai Baba, Tukaram. You understand? These are the people. They are the devotees of the Lord. Kabir. You got it? They are the devotees. अगर आप उनके साथ भी प्यार करेंगे, उनके साथ भी डिवोशनल सर्विस, that means what is important is you have to be devoted to the devotee as well. And when what does the Lord do? The Lord comes running after those people who harm the devotee of the Lord. Suppose अगर किसी ने उसके डिवोटी के साथ पंगा लिया ना, remember the story of Prahlad? He was the greatest devotee of the Lord. And what did the Lord do? He took a form, a dangerous form, so that he could remove that problem from Prahlad's life. Got it? So Sukhdev was also the devotee of the devotee of the Lord, right? Devoted to the devotee. Sutta Goswami thus addressed the rishis headed by Shaunaka. Now I shall begin the transcendental narration of Lord Sri Krishna and the topics of his birth, activities and deliverance of King Parikshit, the sage among kings, as well as the topic of renunciation of the worldly order by the sons of Pandu. So now we are going to begin the story one by one. अभी तक खाली introduction चालू था, मतलब बाहर राउंड लगा के आएंगे तो भी चलेगा. So now we are going to start the story. When the respective warriors, see, the story is going to start somewhere in the middle. It's not going to begin somewhere, okay? We're going to start somewhere in the middle. From there, we are going to slowly wind ourselves up to the main stories, okay? These stories are not in linear fashion. Got it? So when the respective warriors of both the camps, namely the Kauravas and the Pandavas, were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the dead warriors obtained their deserved destination, when the son of Dhritarashtra fell down lamenting, his spine was broken, being beaten by the club of Bhimsen, the son of Dronacharya, Ashwatthama, beheaded the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi and delivered them as prize to the master, foolishly thinking that he would be pleased. Duryodhan, however, disapproved of the heinous act, and he was not pleased in the least. This is a story from the Mahabharata. We are taking a small synopsis from there, and from there we are going to proceed further. Okay? Where does the story lead us? Now, let us see where we are actually starting from. This is the battlefield where Duryodhan, see, Duryodhan was the last person to fall, correct? And how did he fall? Do you know the story of Duryodhan or no? Duryodhan,
Yeah, he got hit on the thigh.
correct. Duryodhan, one day, his mother's name was Gandhari, if you remember. Now Gandhari was always phantom. Phantom मतलब वो आंखों के ऊपर एक पट्टी, yes, आंखों के ऊपर एक पट्टी डाल के जाती थी. बैटमैन, फैंटम के जैसा एक हमेशा पट्टी डालती थी. So it was told to her that if you remove this patti and look at your son's naked body, he will get all the strength that you have in you will get transferred to your son, and nobody can defeat him. This was told to Gandhari. So she tells her son, see my dear son, tomorrow morning when you come from the bath, I don't want you to wear any clothes. I am going to remove the patti from my eyes, and I want to see you naked. अभी कोई भी ऐसा सुनेगा तो बोलेगा ये कितना परवर्टेड आदमी है. मतलब हम लोग तो सोचते ही ऐसा है ना, बोलता है ये इसको XXX फिल्म देखने का लगता है. सर वो मम्मी है उसका, उसको क्या करने का है, सब तो देख के हो गया उसका. Krishna was a very chalu character, okay? Now, you know, he always does some things which are always, he is to protect the dharma. Because if Duryodhan wins, there is a big problem connected to dharma. So what did he do? He catches hold of this guy, Duryodhan, before he could go and meet his mother, and tells him, you are a grown-up man, sir. कभी नंगा, अभी इतना बड़ा आदमी को एक औरत के सामने नंगा नहीं जाने का. बोला तेरी मम्मी हुई तो क्या हुआ, नंगा नहीं जाने का. बोला एक कच्छा ने तो एक लंगोटी पहन के जा. समझ में आया? डॉन के अंडरवेयर या बनियान. बोला रूपा के अंडरवेयर भी चलेंगे. बाय द वे, रूपा के अंडरवेयर के ऊपर मेरे को एक जोक याद आया. और जो द्रौपदी थी ना, उसका नाम रूपा था. Sorry, it's a dirty joke, but anyway, coming back to the topic. So this guy, he gets fooled with what Krishna says, and he goes in front of his mother wearing a kacha, a langoti, and his mother is not able to see him entirely when she opens her eyes. This is responsible for his death in the end. Remember, These two guys are the most important fighting guys who have been taught by Krishna's brother. Who?
Balram.
Balram. Now
Bhim.
Balram's disciples are both these guys. One of them is Duryodhan and the second one is Bhimsen. Bhim. Remember Duryodhan has to fight Bhim. Because Duryodhan is a very strong character. Yeah, Bhim. So Balram has taught both these guys, and Balram is nowhere in the picture. He has told his brother, I don't want to be around. Because you can't have two of his own disciples fighting with each other. Imagine करो आप एक दूसरे के बाल नोच रहे हैं तो कैसा लगेगा? प्रॉब्लम होएगा ना गुरु को. इसीलिए गुरु भाग जाता है पहले से ही भाग जाता है वो. So Duryodhan and Bhim have this great fight happening. And finally, Bhim is trying his level best to kill him. पर नहीं, पर मरता ही नहीं हो. कितना भी मारेगा तो भी he is very strong fellow. Duryodhan. Finally Krishna tells him, जान के ऊपर मारना. Okay, तो मरेगा वो. And Bhim, actually you are not allowed. You know, in the WWF या कौन सा भी बड़े बड़े fight में है ना, you are not supposed to hit below the belt. यहाँ पे वो गुरु घंटाल उसको बोल रहा है कि देखो मार देना चलेगा नहीं तो मरेगा नहीं आदमी. So if Krishna is the one who is doing all this kalakandi, naturally he's Bhim does that, and finally this guy is lying on the floor. When this is observed by this eternal being called Ashwatthama, remember Ashwatthama? Good. Ashwatthama is very much against all these things. Now he can see through this whole story. Okay, he gets very angry with it. So he decides, with his master is Duryodhan. So he tells Duryodhan, I will avenge you. And what does he do? He goes in the middle of the night and he cuts off the head of the 5 Pandavas who are sleeping in the tent in darkness, not knowing that these are not the Pandavas, but they are the Pandavas' children who look exactly like their fathers. So there are the 5 children who look exactly like their father, the 5 Pandavas. And Ashwatthama cuts off their heads and comes and shows it to his mentor, Duryodhan. And Duryodhan looks at him and says, you foolish fellow, idiot, kisko maar ke laya tune? And Ashwatthama is aghast that he has created the biggest blunder. That is why he says Duryodhana, however, disapproved of this heinous act, and he was not pleased in the least. Got it? Then what happens? Draupadi, the mother of the 5 children of the Pandavas, after hearing of the massacre of her sons, begins to cry in distress with the eyes full of tears. Trying to pacify her in the great loss, Arjuna spoke to her thus. O gentle lady, when I was present with you with the head of the Brahmana, after having beheading him with the arrows from my Gandiva bow, I shall then wipe the tears from your eyes and pacify you. Then, after burning your sons' bodies, you can take your bath standing on his head. Who is he talking to? Arjuna is telling his wife, see, don't worry, don't lament. मैं उस ब्राह्मणा बोलेगा तो अश्वत्थामा remember is the son of
Dronacharya.
Correct. So he is a brahmana, isn't it? So he says, I'll cut off his head. Then you can wipe off your tears. Then अपने बच्चों को आग लगा देने का वो स्मशान भूमि में, उसके बाद उसके हेड के ऊपर तांडव करो मांगता है. कितना डेडली है ना ये लोग. इमेजिन करो ये ऐसा सब हम लोग स्टोरी बोल रहे हैं, लेकिन कैसा लगता है? एकदम डेडली लगता है. Arjuna, who is guided by the infallible Lord as friend and driver. उसका ड्राइवर है वो, फ्रेंड एंड ड्राइवर. बोला यस बॉस, दरवाजा खोल के. इमेजिन ड्राइविंग एन BMW और उसका ड्राइवर है वो. Thus satisfied the dear lady by such statements. Arjuna satisfied his wife. Then he dressed in armor and armed himself with the furious weapons. And getting into the chariot, he set out to follow Ashwathama, the son of his martial teacher. Whose teacher? Dronacharya. So what does he do? He has seen this guy. So what does he do? He gets up from his place and tells his wife, मैं इसके पीछे जाता हूँ, उसको मार के मैं लेके आऊंगा. Then what happens? Ashwathama, the murderer of the princess, seen from the great distance Arjuna coming to him with great speed, fled in his chariot, panic stricken just to save his life, as Brahma fled in fear from Shiva. Raj, I'm going to ask you one question. Do you remember who is Ashwathama? Ashwathama, the murderer of the princess, seen from a great distance.
He's the whaler.
Coming to him with great speed, fled in his chariot, panic stricken, just to save his life, as Brahma fled in fear from Shiva. There is a story where Brahma ji, he is a बहुत फेंकते रहता है, बंडल मारता है, तो ब्रह्मा जी के पीछे एक दिन शिवा लग जाते हैं. Okay, that's a story. Okay, so anyway, the story is not important at the moment. So what does he do? So जैसे अश्वत्थामा देखता है कि ये ना अर्जुन मेरे पीछे लगा हुआ है, तो वो और भागने को लगता है. When the son of Brahmana, Ashwathama, saw that his horses were tired, he considered that there was no alternative for protection outside of his using the ultimate weapon, the Brahmastra. That is, my friend here writes nuclear weapon. I'm sorry, nuclear weapon किधर से आएगा उस टाइम पे? छोड़ो ना. Tomorrow we will call it hydrogen bomb. Day after tomorrow we will call it laser weapon. और आजकल के दिन में उसको हम लोग ड्रोन या ऐसा कुछ तो भी बोल सकते हैं. पता नहीं ऐसे अलग अलग नाम दे सकते हैं. It's not important what name it is. So at that point in time, what happens? Ashwathama is looking at Arjuna and he says, "Oh my God, Arjuna is running after me." Now Arjuna is very good at his art, isn't it, of fighting. So what does he do? Ashwathama says, "My horses must be tired. Can I wait over here?" So he waits over there. And he says, "Now is the time that I have to use this celestial weapon that has been given to me. That is the Brahmastra." Brahmastra is a weapon which is used for killing your greatest enemy. Okay? Do you want to know or don't want to know? Nobody wants to know, so I can't tell you that. Okay, I'll tell you once I finish this chapter.
The ultimate weapon.
Yes, ultimate weapon. Since his life was in danger, he touched water in sanctity and concentrated upon the chanting of the hymns for throwing weapons from his side, although he did not know how to withdraw such weapon. Who is this? Ashwathama says, "Now I am going to stop over here." पानी में हाथ डाला, ऐसा बोला करके, और फिर बोला मैं अभी ये weapon छोड़ने वाला हूँ. But he had no idea how to withdraw the weapon. He knew how to send it, but he did not know how to withdraw it back. Thereupon a glaring light spread across in all directions. It was fierce that Arjuna thought his own life was in danger. So he began to address Sri Krishna. "You are the original personality of Godhead, who expand himself all over the creation and is transcendent into the material energy. You have cast away the effects of the material energy by dint of your spiritual potency. You are always situated in eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge." अभी देखो, अगर तुम्हारा हवा निकल गया तो भी क्या करने का? तो बोला कृष्णा को बोला ना. See, in everybody's life, this is the main problem in everybody's life. If you are, is it? Did I not do 22?
No, he skipped.
I'm sorry. So what does he do? Arjuna said, "Oh Lord Sri Krishna, you are the almighty personality of Godhead. There is no limit to your different energies. Therefore, you are competent to instill fearlessness in the heart of your devotees. Everyone is in the flame of material miseries can find the path of liberation in you." What does Arjuna do? Arjuna is seeing Ashwatthama raising his weapon to fire, and he is already doing some, the countdown 9, 8, 7, 6. Already countdown chalu kiya hai usne. Imagine karna, now he's going to plunge the button and the atomic weapon is going to fly towards you. At that point in time, Arjuna says he is very scared. He doesn't know what to do. Because at the end of it, everybody, the biggest fear in a person's life is what, is death, of his own death. अब मरने से सब डरते हैं, correct? मरने से सब डरते हैं. So, what does he do? He says to Krishna. Krishna is his driver. He just now only said, na? So he says, driver, देखो क्या हो रहा है. बोले अच्छा साहब जी मैं जरा बाहर जाके देख के आता हूँ. Imagine that, Krishna is there and Arjuna is sitting behind and Arjuna is telling, इधर जाके देख के आओ क्या हो रहा है. अच्छा आप गाड़ी में बैठो मैं जरा जाके देख के आता हूँ. It looks so funny, isn't it? But in real life, this is what happens. The boss is refusing to get out. There were a number of instances, by the way, even in the Mumbai underworld, where the driver takes the bullets and he saves his boss. तो ऐसा ही है, ये भी ड्राइवर को बोलता है जाके देख के आओ. What does he tell the driver? What does he tell Krishna? He says, you are that great personality of God. देखो अभी ना उसको बड़ा चढ़ा रहा है, बोला मस्का मार रहा है, बोले तू है ना सबसे बड़ा तीरंदाज है, बहुत बड़ा आदमी है तू. There is no limit to your different energies. You have so many powers in you. Do you remember Krishna has shown his powers to Arjuna, correct? The Virat Swarup. So he says to him, you have so many powers in you. Therefore you are competent to instill fearlessness in the hearts of your young devotee. That means you can definitely, give me all the motivation possible in the world. Jana, karna, like that. Okay, but you can instill fearlessness. Everyone is in the flames of material miseries, can find the path of liberation in you only. Please understand this. Krishna is the only way of liberation. So he says, you are that God who expands himself over all the creation and energies. You have cast the effect of the material energy by dint of your spiritual knowledge, potency. What have you done? Remember the story we went back? How is the story? Krishna, from his own potency, just now we said, in the first domain, that is in the second divine unmanifest, he has created his own power base in the form of his Radha, and together there is this constant throbbing which is happening, because of which the second divine unmanifest, which is called the first divine unmanifest, got created, which is Brahma, in which the manifest divinity happens. All these things we had already done. So he says, you are the one who has done all these things. From within you, you have created this entire thing. You are always situated in eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge. बाहर कुछ भी होता रहेगा. In the material world, anything might be happening. Krishna is always lost in his own self. Got it? He is constantly in the state of his own self. He is not bothered about what is happening outside, because he is not externalized, he is internalized everything. And he has got the great knowledge within him. And yet, you are beyond the purview of the material energy. You execute the four principles of liberation, characterized by religion, and so on, for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls. So, usko bada chada ke bol raha hai. What does he say? Nothing. You are beyond everything. Boss, you are the ultimate thing. तेरे जैसा इस दुनिया में कोई नहीं है. You are the one who is giving liberation to everybody. You are beyond all these disasters that may happen in this world. That means you are invincible. Okay, Superman. So he says, Superman sir, वो वहां से वेपन आ रहा है, मैं करने का क्या? Thus you descend as an incarnation to remove the burden of this world and to benefit your friends, especially those who are your exclusive devotee and are wrapped in meditation upon you. Imagine करो, अर्जुना फियरलेसनेस की बात कर रहा है और यहाँ पे तो गई एकदम, बोलते हैं हम लोग मुंबई के लैंग्वेज बोलते उसकी तो फट गई है, क्या करेगा बॉस? So imagine karo, he is literally shivering and he doesn't know what to do, and he is taking recourse to Krishna and he is telling him, sir, you have got all the energies, you have got all the powers, why don't you do something about this? So indirectly he is invoking Krishna and he is telling him, please 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 please, मैं आपका सबसे अच्छा डिवोटी हूं ना, can you not take care of me, please protect me, put a shield around me. What do the devotees do? They are constantly wrapped in meditation upon him. That means they are constantly in constant meditation upon the Lord. You know this word, constant meditation with the Lord. It can happen both ways. Either you could be fearful of the Lord and because of which you will be constantly having him in your mind, or you may be in love with him, so you are always in constant meditation to him. So either which way, you can hate him or you can love him. So you are anywhere going to be thinking of him alone, correct? So here he is saying, I am your greatest devotee. I am constantly in love with you. I am only thinking about you. So can you please take care of me? O Lord of Lords, how is it that this dangerous effulgence is spreading all around? Where does it come from? I do not understand it. So the weapon has been fired. Okay? The Krishna said, know from me that this is the act of the son of Drona. He has thrown the hinge of the Brahmastra and he does not know how to retract the glare. He has helplessly done this, being afraid of imminent death. What does he do? He has taken out the weapon and he has fired it. He does not know what potential this weapon has. It has a tremendous amount of potential. And this energy is spreading all over. Oh Arjuna, only another Brahmastra can counteract this weapon. Since you are an expert in the military science, subdue this weapon's glare with the power of your own weapon. If you remember the Iraq war, the Scud missiles were fired by the Iraqis. Scud, S-C-U-D. The Scud missiles were sold to them by North Korea. Okay? At that time, the Kuwaitis, who were fighting the Iraqis, the Americans had provided them with another weapon system which is called the Patriot. Do you remember this? During the Iraq-Kuwait war, and Patriot was a weapon system which was an anti-weapon actually. It could stop this other weapon right there in the sky and neutralize it. That is what the Patriot system is actually famous for. Alright? Good. So he says, Krishna is telling him, see, you also have this special weapon with you which can neutralize that weapon over there. Why don't you use that weapon of yours? Siddha Goswami said, hearing this from Krishna, Arjuna touched water for purification and after circumambulating the Lord, he cast his Brahmastra weapon to counteract the other one. When the rays of the true Brahmastra combined, a great circle of fire, like the disk of the sun, covered an outer space and the whole firmament of the planets. Sounds very surreal, isn't it? ऐसा हो सकता है क्या करके आप सोचेंगे, बोले यार ये कौन सा ब्रह्मास्त्र, कौन से किधर से आया, एंड ऑल द स्काई एंड एवरीथिंग. ओके डोंट वरी, एंड आएगा तभी मैं बताऊंगा. तब तक के लिए आप जरा धीर करके रखिए. So, how many more are there? Okay, I think we have literally come to the few more lines. Maybe I can I finish it off today? Should I continue tomorrow? Oh, it's a long thing. So I will do it till a certain point and then I will stop. All the population of the three worlds was scorched by the combined heat of the weapons. Everyone was reminded of the Samvartaka fire, which takes place at the time of annihilation. Thus, seeing the disturbance of the general populace and the imminent destruction of the planets, Arjuna at once retracted both Brahmastra weapons as Sri Krishna desired. Arjuna, his eyes blazing in anger like the two red balls of copper, dexterously arrested the son of Gautami and bound him with ropes like an animal. After binding Ashwatthama, Arjuna wanted to take him to the military camp. Krishna, looking on with his lotus eyes, spoke to angry Arjuna. What is happening? He releases his weapon and then he is able to neutralize this and bring the weapon down. Once he does that, he is able to capture Ashwatthama and then he binds him up and wants to take him to the place where his other commanders are there. At that time, he is very angry at what? Remember, he has given a promise to his wife. You remember the promise that he has given to his wife? He has said, I'm going to cut his head and I'm going to bring it over here. Then only you can rub your eyes. Correct? Krishna said, Oh Arjuna, you should not show mercy by releasing this relative of the Brahmana, for he has killed innocent boys in their sleep. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't you show mercy on this person. A person who knows the principles of religion does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot. These are some principles that we use in our material world also. After the sundown, we do not raise arms. I mean, this was the olden system. Abhi aajkal ke time mein to even, you have the laser weapons and all those arms, and you can fight even in the middle of the night. You have missiles which are out of sight missiles, out of sight, out of range missiles. You can fire from here and you don't have to see your enemy also. You can just blast the thing from here and those fellows will be affected over there. Today we have even the weapons which, if you see the papers today, Syria, is using what is called as the chemical weapons. Just for your very common, information, India has also a very huge stockpile of chemical weapons, which are very, very harmful. These are nerve gases and all. Okay. So anyway, that is just a sidetrack. A person who knows the principles of religion does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot. So suppose you find that there is another person who is any of these conditions are being met, you cannot do anything about it. Nor does he kill a boy, a woman, a foolish creature, or a surrendered soul. So all these other people are also included in that. A cruel and a wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of others' lives deserves to be killed for his own well-being. Otherwise he will go down by his own actions. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, see, this person has gone surreptitiously in the night, he has gone and he has cut off the head of your 5 children. They were not fighting, they were asleep. And you cannot do this type of a crime after the battlefield, has closed down. So, furthermore, I have personally heard you promise Draupadi that you will bring forth the head of the killer of her son. This man is an assassin and murderer of your own family members. Not only that, but he has also dissatisfied his master. He is but a burnt remnant of the family. Kill him immediately. Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't worry about anything. You had already told your wife, and he is the one who has, you see, when you use such type of weapons, or when you have gone and done something wrong, like killing of children and so on and so forth, the Guru's powers that are there, vested in that particular person, are completely destroyed. So he says he has gone and disobeyed his master as well. So you need to destroy him. Goswami said, Sutta Goswami said, although Krishna was examining Arjuna in religion, encouraged Arjuna to kill the son of Dronacharya. Arjuna, a great soul, did not like the idea of killing him, although Ashwatthama was a heinous murderer of Arjuna's family members. After reaching his own camp, Arjuna, along with his dear friend and charioteer, Krishna, entrusted the murderer unto his dear wife, who was lamenting for her murdered sons. Sutta Goswami said, Draupadi then saw Ashwatthama, who was bound with ropes like an animal, and silent for having enacted the most inglorious murder, due to the female nature and due to her being good and well behaved, she showed him due respect as a Brahmana. Killing a Brahmana is also a crime. So she understands all these things. So what does she say to him? She could not tolerate Ashwatthama being bound by ropes, and being a devoted lady, she said, release him, for he is a Brahmana, our spiritual master. He is the son of Dronacharya, so kindly don't kill him. It was by Dronacharya's mercy that you learned the military art of throwing arrows and the confidential art of controlling weapons. So she says, it is your Guru's son. Guru Putra hai wo. तुम गुरु पुत्र को मार नहीं सकते. He is certainly still existing. That means Dronacharya, who is dead in the battlefield, remember? He was killed by deceit. Okay, what was the deceit? The deceit was...
Ashwatthama dead.
Yes. It's actually an elephant which is dead. But they keep on saying Ashwatthama is dead, Ashwatthama is dead. And Dronacharya then drops his arms, his weapons. And they kill him there. He is certainly still existing, being represented by his son. His wife Kripi does not understand a sati with him, did not undergo a sati with him because she has a son. The most fortunate one, who knows the principles of religion. It is not always good for you to cause grief to glorious family members who are always respectable and worshipful. My Lord, do not make the wife of Dronacharya cry like me. I am aggrieved for the death of my son. She need not cry constantly like me. So Draupadi is explaining to her husband, don't do this type of a thing. Because if you are going to kill Dronacharya's son, his wife, Kripi was his wife, she is going to feel very bad because she is going to lose her son. If the kingly administrative order, being unrestricted in sense control, offends the Brahmana order and enrages them, then the fire of the rage burns the whole body of the royal family and brings grief upon all. So, if this king, naturally, who is the king? Now, after the death of Duryodhana and all, the king is Yudhishthir himself, isn't it? So, Yudhishthir cannot kill this, or Yudhishthir and his king cannot kill the Guru's son. Sutta Goswami said, O Brahmanas, King Yudhishthir fully supported the statements of the queen. They were in accordance with the principles of religion and were justified, glorious, full of mercy and equity, and without duplicity. Nakula and Sahadev, the younger brothers of the king. Who is the king? Yudhishthir. Okay? And also Satyaki, Arjuna, the personality of Goddess Sri Krishna, son of Devaki, and the ladies are all unanimously agreed with the king. But there was one person who was always dissenting, Bhima. Bhima, however, disagreed with them and recommended killing this culprit, who in an angry mood had murdered sleeping children for no purpose and for neither his nor his master's interest. Now Bhimsen is one person who says, I don't want to forgive him, I want to kill him. Chaturbhuj, the four-armed one, or the personality of Godhead, after hearing the words of Bhima, Draupadi and others, saw the face of his dear friend Arjuna, and he began to speak as if smiling. Do you think I should stop over here? Okay, so we will stop over here because Krishna is going to give his explanation of what is the most important thing that you got to do. So we will stop over here at 395 page, and it is text 53 and 54, chapter 7, Canto 1. Alright, so we will stop over here. So we will do tomorrow after this. But kindly come up with the questions if you have any. Because I'm sure there must be some questions somewhere lurking. All right.
So one question, Guruji. I think in the just a few stanzas before, he said Krishna says have no mercy on him.
Yes.
And he's also, but I think the conversation that happens later seems to be overriding his suggestion. And what is the significance of that? I mean, is that
there is an see the whole story. 1 second. He's asking, are you asleep or what? No, I'm awake. Okay. The whole story, it is a depiction. Like I said, there are three things which happen. One which happens in the divine sphere, second which happens inside of you, and the third one which is happening outside of you in the battlefield. There is a place called Kurukshetra, isn't it? In India, there is a place called Kurukshetra. This body is also called Kurukshetra, which we had already done in the past. So then, in this Kurukshetra, the two fighting parties are there, Pandavas and the Kauravas. We had also discussed what are Kauravas. Kauravas is that potencies which are drawing the Pandavas outwards. Correct? Sense objects, we call them, sense objects. We had also discussed what are the two most important things which are connected to this: anger and greed, or lust and greed, whichever way you want to call it.
Duryodhana and Dushasana.
We had already discussed about this. Now there is a character which has been introduced, whose story we are reading just now. This is called Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama, son of
Dronacharya.
correct. Dronacharya is what?
The Guru.
Who is the person Dronacharya?
One who teaches us martial arts.
Okay. There is something in us, in the material being like us. We have this power of fighting back. This power, which is within every human being, to withstand anything in this material world. किसने मारा क्या? बराबर करके रखूंगा. You see that? It comes within us. Hey, हाथ क्यों लगाता है? If somebody does this to us, don't we do this? We are literally ready to fight with a person.
Retaliate.
Yes. Not retaliate. We are ready to even stand for whatever we believe in. Suppose कोई किसी को है ना, कोई लड़की को छेड़ रहा है, तो हम लोग जाके क्या करते हैं? हाथ मत लगा. करते कि नहीं करते? This is the art which we have learned. Every human being has this Dronacharya in them. Okay? The power which is there, Dronacharya's power in every human being, which makes us stand over there and say, हाथ मत लगाना. किसको हाथ लगाता है? Is Ashwatthama.
The Vailer.
We have this Vailer in us. कि हम किसी भी चीज का सामना कर सकते हैं. Vailer is always external. Correct or wrong? हम लोग दिखाने के लिए क्या बोल रहे? You know, we do this. ये Vailer जो चीज है ना, जब हम यूज करते हैं तब गलत चीज भी कर देते हैं, गलत हाथ भी उठाते हैं, किसी गलत आदमी को भी मारते हैं. तो Vailer is not at all distinguishing itself whether he is doing right or whether he is doing wrong. Got it? He doesn't have the power of distinction. He doesn't even say कि ये सही है कि वो सही है. Got it? And the valor, which is shown by this person called Ashwatthama in this book, think about it in these three domains, also exists. When this great war of Mahabharata happens within us, we actually forget what we are doing because we are trying to kill the enemies outside of us. And this stands up at that point in time. The Brahmastra, which is fired by this weapon, the weapon which is fired by this Brahmastra, remember this weapon is fired. This is the highest weapon of attack. It's an attack weapon. It can protect this valor. It can protect anything. हम लोग थोड़ा क्या बोलते हैं, वो आगे जाके करने की बात करते हैं ना, हिम्मत है क्या, गट्स गट्स
गट्स गट्स
हम लोग गट्स दिखाते हैं, क्या करते हैं क्या करते हैं. Arjuna has to fire his weapon. That is basically so that neutralizing this. That means the potencies inside of you, they will tell you it is not necessary to show the guts. इसीलिए बहुत से टाइम पे गलत जगह पे अपने गट्स दिखाना बराबर बात नहीं है. ओके, सब जगह पे नहीं. I am reminded of this beautiful film that we went to see, Hey Jawani Ye Diwani. That this is girl Kalki. Okay, she starts, taking any weapon and starts running after these fellows. They maring it. But the other guy is pulling her behind. Boss, वो 10 जन है, तू 2-4 जन है, हम लोग मारेंगे वो लोग. चल भागो भागो भागो. And she wants to go and beat. वो है ऐसी, और वो ऐसे 4 मुस्टंडे सामने आके खड़े रहेंगे, वो क्या करेगी, लेकिन वो मैं मार के बताऊंगी तुमको and all that. तो ये एक very funny sequence is enacted in Manali. So it's a beautiful sequence which you can go and see. And this is what we always want to do. गलत जगह पे है ना हम लोग हमारे गट्स दिखाने की कोशिश करते हैं. So far we have gone on the track. So at that point in time, the 5 children. Who are the 5 children?
The eyes, the
उनके 5 बच्चे हैं.
the vision to see, the smell, the
गलत
sound,
चीज करके हम लोग ये चीज को काट डालते हैं.
senses.
हाँ, एंगर या फिर जो हम बोल रहे थे लस्ट एंड ग्रीड, तो ये हम लोग उसके बच्चे हैं, हमारे आंखों के बच्चे, इसके बच्चे, उनको मार डाला गलत जगह पे जाके, ज्यादा होशियारी करके, है ना. So now something has to be done. What is going to happen is being told by Krishna tomorrow. So far I think you have followed the story properly, isn't it? See, these are instances in our life. These are things which happen to us. We think it's a book. It is just for us to understand the essence of this book. Remember, it's a book. It's a beautiful story book. Either you can take it just like that. Imagine करो वो कोई nuclear weapon छोड़ रहा है and all that. It is going to say, ये अपने सिर में घुसता नहीं सर, उस टाइम पे कौन सा nuclear weapon था and all that. We can have a very strange viewpoint from our this thing. Logically doesn't sound correct, right? Logically this book sounds चलो ठीक है, but no, apply it and you will come to the essence of it. So tomorrow we'll take the balance part of it. Why Krishna does this and why is it that the whole thing turns around. Alright, so I shall take your leave, leaving you after this much. You can think about it.